apply for or pursue the application to get conditional funding. What he was alluding to was, and again, that's the applicant's issue. They're running out of time to do that.
Sure.
That's always, it's their application. We don't push or pull or obstruct, if you will, on the applications.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one other point that was mentioned before, I think it was Phyllis said it, the taxpayer isn't picking up these costs. This is passed on to the FEMA in this particular case.
Which costs are you speaking of?
Well, if now you're going to be doing work, X amount of hours, for an extension for the Feeney brothers,
yes,
that shouldn't be coming out of the tax.
That's correct. So those costs or expenses should be the applicants. That's correct.
Right, and engineers.
Yeah, but we're not the case. Right, exactly.
George, I knew you were here for you.
Okay. We beat that one to death. Okay.
Is that all going to be on YouTube?
Okay. All right. Bill, you demand.
Okay, you gentlemen have this before you, your score sheet before you.
Yes.
We cannot save this. We got to do
Halloween or something.
First of all, I'll draw your attention to the very back sheet that you can refer to as we go through the budget process. It's the town budget calendar, the dates that are significant as they are each year to tentative budget, preliminary budget, adopted budget, advertising the newspapers. This is the standard schedule.
What I'd like to do is for the board is that Phil, who's the financial commissioner of finance, and myself, we met with Bill on more than one occasion on this to further define and refine this budget. So what you see here tonight, the budget, is just the latest iteration.
It's our first go-around. Actually,
Second go-round.
Second go-around.
So,
okay.
Yep, go for it.
Once again, at the very top, I've listed the preliminary tax increase as it stands today. This is 2 weeks after our first attempt. What we have as a total at this moment is 3.94%, which is a tremendous downshift from 2 weeks ago at 20%, almost 21%. We've gone through and taken a look at, first of all of our fund balances. And that we're in the black of the fund balances, which is a nice thing, but in the face of all the tax tertiary, legal, and engineering expense that we have incurred this year, which has been enormous, and we expect that to occur one more year, again, with all the cases that are before us. We're having to really severely increase the legal line, the engineering lines to take care of those tax certain problems. We are able to, again, apply some fund balance for the A fund, which is both town and village residents, but not to the strength we did the prior year. So we'll be losing about $75,000 worth of application there. Typically, the state recommends to municipalities to have on hand somewhere around 12 to 15% of their appropriations each year as a fund balance. We don't have that in any of the funds due to 2010 really knocking into them mostly in the A fund because of the tax certs. We do have some to apply, but we're having to be more careful. And as we go through, just as an overview of the entire budget process, our fund balances, the A fund came into this year with $329,000. We're going to apply $200,000 toward the tax process, which will only leave us with about $130,000 next year if all things happen normally as they do. That's really far below what the state would recommend us to have. It is nonetheless in the black. And we do think and hope that with the increases we put in here, that will level us out, and in either 2012 or 13, those can come out and we'll begin to build that nice fund balance back. So the A fund's really the big bad guy this time around with all the tax cert problems. We also are losing this year parkland fees that we can apply because what we had on hand last year we gave back to the taxpayer, which is a good thing to do. But in that, parkland fees have not yet come in from new projects yet. We don't have them to apply, so we'll have to go this year and forgo that.
Did you talk to Neil?
I haven't seen him on the entire amount. I do have an application on one of them.
Okay. For the board, there's potential parkland fees.
Excuse me?
I'm just telling for the board, there is potential parkland fees.
there is potential parkland fee. Be a little careful about that. We don't know until I talk to Neil about it.
Yeah.
We may have something.
Well, we're just talking about earlier that A&L Acres.
Right.
It's going to be April of next year. It's going to be finished. They're going to get the final.
And we'll get the parkland fee.
We'll get the
Get the parkland. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So you see at the very top of the page, A and DA, which are the two funds that affect both town and village residents. Those are the combinations that are going to take the hit this year. The combined A, DA, and PDR, which we don't have this year, so that does help us out a little bit. Those numbers look high for A and DA, but combined together with a decrease in the PDR leaves it still at a very strong 34% for the town and village residents at this point. And overall 3.9 for town residents, because the B and DB fund did very well. We didn't really have the hit in those two funds. Primarily, if you have taken a look at the sheet that I gave you two weeks ago, many of those lines haven't changed. Those are the key, those are the big boys that were the hits to the budget, either severe decreases in revenues or severe increases to expenses. In the A fund, what I didn't have there 2 weeks ago was applying $200,000 in the A fund for fund balance. That's why the rates 2 weeks ago for the A and DA were even worse than this. So we're putting $200,000 in. That's one of the bigger changes. DA fund at the bottom, I want you to look at the expenses, highway capital equipment. You see $105,000 budgeted in 2010. That $25,000 should say $125,000.
Right.
No, I didn't want. I was scaring myself. The
That's
rates
where we were at the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rates do reflect $125,000. It's a typo, so it should say $125,000.
Well, we need to understand all that, though.
Yes.
I mean, this may not be the final.
This may not be the plan.
So we don't need to go out. Okay.
Right. I mean, we can, and we have until November 20th to revisit this 100 times.
Right.
To do what we have to do.
So then the expenses are $200,000, not $100,000.
Correct.
Is that reflected also?
It's not. It's reflected in the rate. It is not reflected in the calculation at the bottom of the increase, decrease. The rate itself is fine. I went and checked my tax sheet to make sure I had the $125,000 in there, and that was because Phil and I had internally changed it at our second meeting after I had developed this sheet.
Yeah, just briefly, you know that we bought a truck last year, and I'll explain why. And we negotiated a payment plan. He had $105,000 last year, but we sent some, and we figured we would pay half or 60% of the truck this year when it was delivered, and then pay the other part in January. So in this budget, in the 2011 budget, is that second payment for that original truck, which is probably going to be around $40,000. So really, he won't have $125,000 to spend, because of that, probably $40,000 of that
But
is
that
already
also
spent.
means there'll be money left over from that budget line. That, because you're not.
But that's why I'm saying this
Right.
is not in concrete yet. We
Right.
may not be in a position based
Yeah.
on these
Right.
34.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
so there's money going over, because the 105 is really the leftover after you bought something else.
Right.
That's the balance
But-
that we had to work with, and the truck came in at 104.
Right, so we bought something
Bought
else.
for $12,500. We bought that. Two trucks.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
And-
reflect the original budget was more money. This is what's left.
Right.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
Yep.
So it doesn't look like, that line item was less.
No, you're going to have 85,000. Take 40 from the 125.
It would either be there or out of fund balance. That's
Right.
a choice we made.
Right. Sure. But it says 85,000 this year versus 105,000 last year.
Last year.
Okay, we're together.
B fund. We've made some changes to some of those expense lines. The revenues haven't changed much. We're still careful there. On the police line, we've taken some more money out since the last time from there. Also workers' comp. We were running a little strong in budget there, so we took some further cuts into the workers' comp, and that precipitated a greater decrease in the B fund. which brings them down. Actually, the B fund has is showing a 20% decrease this coming year.
If you show on the side, here's the number, $100,000
There you go.
parkland fee.
For parkland
That's what we.
fee.
And Parkland, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, you're right, I missed that.
Okay.
DB, not much change to the last time to this time. In fact, I don't think there's any change to that. It's pretty much exactly